Here we go. Now, so what I want to do is I'll share a screen with you. At the moment, that's a railway shot, but I'm going to turn that into, can you see that?
Yes.
Now I'm going to bring up the here we go. I'm bringing up the Alpha Crucis website. So what you do there is you go to current students. Well, it's a long time since I've done this. In fact, I've never done this. Sorry. How do you do this? Student forms. Here we go. Student forms. And
I see a little bit to the top is extension request. Could it
where?
be that one? A little bit more up.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, you've got better eyesight than me. So, application for extensions, and when you get here, extension request for vet and higher ed. So that one. And when you get there, you will see that there, is that big enough for you all to see?
Yes.
I'll make it a wee bit bigger. These are the reasons that you can ask for an extension. A medical illness and you need a doctor's certificate. Extreme hardship, which doesn't include a computer breakdown. It doesn't include too much work, but we'll come to that in a minute. Compassionate grounds. And a faculty supervised project amendment. So if your lecturer makes a particular arrangement with you, that it has to have a different date. So that could be an official reason why you'd apply for an extension. Now, if you've got particular circumstances that you want to put to me as your lecturer, then I would suggest you do that in an email. And if I agree, which I am, then you go ahead and fill this in. And when you get, so your details here, blah, 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 and what is the official date, type of the assessment, and then in this section here, you basically say, oh, hello.
Hello, Dr. Jimtov.
Who's just joined us?
Goina.
All right, say that slowly.
Freezing.
Sorry, could you say your name again slowly?
Goina Elizabeth Matlow.
Gwena. Okay,
Yes.
I will try. Good to meet you.
Good to meet
So
you.
in this box here, you would just write a few words, have talked to my lecturer, so-and-so, and we've agreed on blah, blah. So you just put, or if it's something you haven't discussed with your lecturer, then you would say what the reason is that you're asking for the extension. And then if there was a medical certificate you had to upload, you would do that there. And then you hit the send button and it will come to myself and Stephen Brinton. Now, Stephen Brinton is the program director for bachelors. So he's the one who would approve. And if you've been talking to me, I will talk to him and make sure that he knows what we're talking about. And the only thing is, I would say, as we're coming into June, any extension at this point in time is getting a bit difficult because we have to meet the college processes. So a week would be, I think, as far as you can push it at this stage. Okay, so if that doesn't work, then send me an email and we'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so that's what you do if you need to go and apply for an extension. So you follow through on the current students, and you go to student forms and so on.
Yes.
Okay, right. Now, how can I help today? So any of you shoot off with any questions, and we'll go wherever you would like me to go.
So, Dr. Jim, one of the questions that I have, a note from you that you gave from the previous assessment we gave in, was that you saw it was a copy and paste. And so I want to avoid that in the future. So I took the example that you sent for us, the link on YouTube, and where they said that when you are using information like that, to just change the wording, even though you reference them at the bottom. So that's really what I tried to do, but obviously I didn't manage to do that. So how can I avoid that in the future?
Yeah. Now, are we talking EDU 105?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let me go to EDU 105, and then we're on the same page. So we're talking this one here. And so when I gave you that feedback, was that for the
it was assessment 3.
This one here?
One down.
This one? Or the what? Or that one?
Yes, there we go. Assessment 3, reading reflection.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the thing I think I would say is, what I'll do is I'll take you all to Ed Info. So Education Info, Education Students page, and go to the homeroom. And under here, I hope you've been to this page, because it's like going into the assembly hall for the school. This page, every subject, these are sort of common resources on here for everybody, okay? Bachelor's, master's, they're all in here, whatever subject you're doing. So if you're thinking, I'm really looking for something, and it's general across the whole award, the likelihood is it's going to be on this page. And where I'm taking you to, says he, and I've gone to the wrong bit of it. So I need to go to that bit. There, here we go. So the first thing I would say to you is go to this one here, the APA 6, the University of Sydney, and open that up. And I'll pull that over for you. This is 19 pages, 18 pages if you take off the front cover. And it is so good in terms of helping you work out how to reference things inside an article and your reference list at the end. So if you've got, well, for example, a piece with 2 authors, then that's how you would do it in a sentence. You'd say Palmer and Short, 2010, page 63, and then your sentence continues. But that's what you do at the end. You'd give a reference like that, a full reference like that, with where it was published in the reference list at the end of the piece. So you've got to have that balance, what you do inside the text, what you do at the end. Now, why I'm mentioning this is that you see you've got a page number after the date.
Yes.
You have here as well. So when you're using a full quote, a copy and paste, then put in inverted commas at the front and the back of the copy of the bit you're copying. As long as you do that, and as long as you give the page number where you've got it from, you won't be done for plagiarism.
Okay.
But if you do a copy and paste without giving the reference and the page number, then the lecturer can say, I wonder whose words that is. Is it the student or is it somebody else? We don't know. And the assumption would be that you copied it, therefore you'll get done for plagiarism. Okay. Now, we've recently adjusted how the plagiarism works on some of these assignments. And it actually is now giving a higher score than it used to last year. So if you're, say, 20%, it's not the end of the world. Ideally, I'd love you to get to a percentage of less than 10. But if you've got a percentage of plagiarism on the Turn It In button that's saying 40, 50%, then you've got problems. And your lecturer is going to be on at you like a ton of bricks. So try to aim for less than 10. But it's not going to be the end of the world if you're 20, 25%. And your lecturer will have a little word with you, but it's not going to mean you fail. Now, that's a bit of a long answer, but does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
The Turn It In button that you says that has plagiarism, that says plagiarism, my son, sorry.
Hello.
Is that? Hello.
Are we going to say hello?
Hi.
How old is he?
Hi.
How old are you, Ezra?
This old.
3. Excellent.
Oh, my dad.
Cheers.
I've got a 3-year-old grandchild. Hello.
Sorry?
I have a 3-year-old as well.
Oh, they're lovely, hey?
Yeah.
So my question was, you mentioned the Turn In button, that it might, then you can look for the plagiarism percentage. Is that on Moodle, or are you talking about Grammarly?
No,
Moodle.
it's on Moodle. Now, not all assignments have ask you to turn it in the Turn It In format, but some of them do. And where they do, it will be important because you have so many subjects ahead of you. You've really got to get used to that system and how it works, so that it doesn't become scary to you. What can I do? So if you're, let's go back to our subject now. EDU105, and we'll go here. So when you're doing a Turn It In assignment, you see that one isn't. That's not a Turn It In assignment, so that's not going to give you a score of plagiarism or anything. I figured it wasn't necessary because, well, it's your teaching. In fact, thank you very much, everybody. I really enjoyed your lessons. It was absolutely so weird for me to be sitting here and marking your class in Africa. It was a treat. It was absolutely made my day. So that one didn't have a plagiarism button, right? But this one does. So you see the different symbols. So when you go in there, this is how I see it on my screen, and I'm probably not going to show you that because, oh, I haven't marked it yet. I haven't marked it yet. And you see, people, so I'll get rid of this quite quickly because it's all personal. Look, ooh, Mariska, you've got a 61%. Wow, there must be something fishy going on there. So I'll have a look in there You know, I'm not going to throw the book at you tomorrow. We'll
Dr.
sort this
Jem,
out. Okay?
can I please ask a question?
Of course.
For the reading reflections, you said there's no referencing needed. I think that's why it showed 61% similarity, because you said we don't need to reference, we simply need to read and reflect.
Yes.
So that's what I did, and I think that might be the problem, why it has such a high similarity.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Will that now be a problem? Because okay.
No, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. This is the first time I've done this subject, and these are, you know, teething problems that we will sort out.
I also have another question, please. It's concerning exactly the same thing. If we turn if we submit an assignment to turn it in, and it shows a high similarity rate, like what you said, more than 20%, which is not good. Can we do a resubmission? Can we delete it? Is there a way to fix our mistake?
Yes, they're supposed to be. And if you see, this is really difficult for me because I can't see what you see. But yes, it is supposed to enable you to remove what you put in. I think the key there is the word submit. So if you can do the plagiarism test on your work before you hit the actual submit button, there might be an upload button before that. I'm not sure.
No.
If you've got an issue like that, you see this button down here on the bottom right of your Moodle page?
Yes.
That's where the technical people answer queries like that. So if you get stuck on the Turnitin button's not working right, hit that button and type in a little question, and somebody will get back to you very quickly.
Okay. Because a lot of us use Grammarly, and we have found that Grammarly doesn't pick up everything. Like, for instance, my assignment, Grammarly said there's no problems at all, and when I submitted it to turn it in, all of a sudden there was a big similarity difference.
Yeah, but no, Grammarly will check for your English grammar and how well you've constructed sentences, whereas Turnitin is trying to work out, have you lifted text from an article and put it straight into your assignment without referencing it. You're welcome to put quotes in your essays as long as you put inverted commas and the full reference, and it won't pick up similarity. So I think you might be mixing up between what Turnitin does and what Grammarly does.
Because Grammarly also has an option for plagiarism check.
Oh, does it?
Yes, but it doesn't check it that well as Turnitin does. That's where the problem comes in.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so anything else on Wendy, on that question of copy paste?
Yes. No, so that question is definitely answered. The other question that I do have, I think Mariska will also agree with me that in South Africa, even though we further our studies, it's a very foundation-based information. So we get information, we memorize it, and we have to give feedback. And I think writing essays for people in South Africa is quite a harder thing. So I want to know, how can we improve on this? Because I think writing a good, we have all this information, but we really want to give the essay forming right. How could we practice this and not just do it by entering an assignment?
Okay. What a good question, man. Love the question. If I go back to EdInfo and you go to the Education Student Handbook, right, which is on the Education Student page, Education Student Handbook. And in there, there's a section where is it? I'm looking for essay writing. Jim, where did you put it?
So will this then give us additional information as to the website?
Here we are. Appendix G, assignment writing. So it's page 51 of this handbook, right? So before you go anywhere else on that question, I really would make sure you've read this section, okay?
Okay.
Which talks about how to, first of all, how to put your cover sheet on, which is fine for most of you, I think. Referencing APA style. Now,
yes, that's very helpful.
Complete the question. That's a funny way of putting it, but really, these are some hints on essay writing technique. Read the essay question very carefully several times. This is what I do in my sleep now, but if you're not used to it, then it would be good to follow this checklist. Underline the key words and check their meaning. It may help to do some basic reading first. Highlight the actions that are in the question. Is it a discuss, summarize, whatever it is? I would encourage you as a group out there to wherever you can, be it by Zoom or in face-to-face, that you brainstorm an essay together. I don't feel there's any shame or anything wrong with doing that. In fact, I would encourage you to spend, even if it's a phone call or something, whatever it takes, get yourself together, and so you can brainstorm a question. And I think, so I'll just finish going through here. These are some issues about you researching for an essay, and how to plan an essay, how to write an essay, what to put in the body, how to edit it afterwards, questions about plagiarism and so on. Copyright isn't going to be a bother to you, I'm sure. So there's lots of skills there and lots of tips and tricks, but what I'd say to you is that don't overthink an essay. We know what standard we are at. We don't need you to be academic high flyers. We need you to be great, passionate teachers, full of your faith and able to communicate that with kids. That's the bottom line. Yeah, but yes, because of accreditation, we have to get you to do some essays. So, yeah, I'll shush, you go.
Sorry, Dr. Jim, that leads me into my next question that I have. So I understand we're enrolled for Diploma of Arts, but eventually we would like then obviously to do our bachelor's degree in primary. And then my question is ongoing throughout the years, is this what we can kind of expect is reflective reading and essay writing? Is that going to be the main way in which we can then reach our goal?
No. Oh, this is a fantastic discussion. I love it. First of all, you may well be enrolled in the Diploma of Arts at the moment. But the point is that's simply a tool to get you onto the course. And when you successfully complete that, it's as if you've never been on it. You're now in the bachelor. And what you've studied in the diploma is transferred and totally acceptable within your bachelor. So it's not a case of finishing one and starting another. you've started both, if you like, but you happen to have a label of diploma for the first year.
Okay.
So you just, everything, assuming everything goes well, you then transfer into the bachelor for the rest of the program. So it's 3 years full-time after your 1 year diploma. Okay? Now, what can you expect in terms of assignments? Well, let me take you back to, no, I didn't mean to do that. Jim, you silly lad. If I go here, get out of that, and is this going to take me, yay, back to where I wanted. Good. Now, this is EDU105. Now, we put a lot of thought into the structure of this course. I know there's a mountain of stuff in it, and you folk are working full-time, and it's to get your head around all this material, as well as do your full-time job and look after home and so on. It's a huge ask, I know. But if you look at this, the content of this page, that's the mandatory requirements, which just sit there. That's not a big deal for you. It's a big deal for the Australian people, but not such a big deal for you. We can solve that. No, not a big hassle. This is a technique that you need to learn how to use for all your subjects, the APA 6. It's a skill. Now, that's like a teaser for becoming a teacher education student. Because the Bloom's taxonomy is a very big part of many of your subjects. So if you don't understand Bloom's taxonomy and the way kids learn, then I recommend you do. And a good way of starting is by watching one of these videos. And if there's a 3-star on the end of it, I'm basically saying it's definitely worth watching. And obviously go to the other links if you've got some time. That's a skill which you'll need for all your studies, but I'm coming to something, so hang in there. This is again a bit more study skills based and how do you learn. That's about your placement in different schools and clinical teaching model, how to use your voice, which was what that assignment was about, academic research when you're going into the library resources, how to get material out of various online sources, etc. But, oh, and here's you've got a section on essay writing, but here we go, educational assignments. That little section there is designed to give you a heads up on what to expect for the assignments from different subjects. And I will say that the biggest one is lesson plans and units of work. Now, every teacher around the world has to do that. They have to write notes and which tabulate what resources they're going to use, what assignments they're going to do, what their objectives, what the goals of the lessons are, etc., etc. That's where most of the subjects will end with a major assignment like that. The number of essays will be quite small. Okay, but that's what that section's about. What to expect in educational assignments.
Okay, fantastic. Can I go on to the next question? I don't know if Mariska's group maybe has another question.
Go for it, Wendy.
Sure, you've actually answered some of my questions by explaining the one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Then, Yes, I also wanted to know if we should use something else than the prescribed reading, which you also answered. And then if we read something like the assigned reading that you gave at an assessment, and we quote from that, so I'm sure I might read the answer in the places that you've shown me as well, and we reference from that, like if we reference from the assigned reading and they reference Cole, but we go then and read Cole's book, do we reference what we have read, or do we reference from our own from Cole's book?
I think I'll say two things in response to that. On the cover sheet for every assignment, it says that what's in this assignment hasn't been submitted anywhere else by you into Alpha Crucis. So the awkward thing is that you'll be doing some reading which is relevant to more than one subject and more than one assignment. And it would be so tempting to say, hey, well, I wrote 2 pages on that, stick it in. But if you do that, then that gets you in trouble. So you can't copy what you've already submitted for a different assignment into another one. But you can still use the same source material. In other words, if you've got a fantastic paper or resource that you want referenced, then yes, by all means, reference that again. Yes. But again, you're writing in your own words again.
Yes. So you also, in the papers that you write, have referenced yourself. So should we do something similar?
Ideally, you would reference the person that you are referencing, not yourself.
Okay.
But there could be a place, for example, in some of the subjects, you have to write journals, right? Observational journals on different settings. And that's purely your work, and it's perfectly valid. I would recommend you do that in a formal way and with page numbers and dates. And you're very, very welcome to reference your own journal in an assignment.
Okay.
Okay. So, you put it in quotes and put it your own name and the page number.
Okay. And then the last question that I have is, going on to semester 2, will we continuously have access to the information on Moodle?
The answer immediately is yes.
Okay.
It does go into archive, but I'm not sure when.
Okay.
So I think my advice to you is that if there's something on a particular subject, like, for example, this one,
to best save it.
Yeah, save it somewhere else on your computer or whatever, or a reference to it at least, because I'm not sure when they're going to hibernate this stuff. I would.
Okay, but the library, will we have access to that even during
always
okay,
you have access to the library, yeah.
Okay.
But the actual content of this Moodle page may get hidden from you. I'm not sure when. I can't.
When moving, yes.
Yeah, I don't know when that will be. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then I want to also find out, so going into semester 2, I've heard the very sad news that we are not going to be with you, but with another mentor. So I just want to know, could we get information so we can start reading, because our holiday time is now over break, and for myself, I don't know about the others, that's the best time to actually now, work on our assignments.
Wow, you're touching on a very, very important point. I'm very conscious that this is a ridiculously late Zoom to have with you. I wish we'd had this a month ago, 2 months ago. I'm so sorry it's been so late since we've actually made it together. In future years, I will definitely want to do it sooner. Now, Stephen Brinton, whose office is next door to me, he and I have talked about our support for you folk in Africa, and we realized that Zoom is actually brilliant and we should do it more often. All of our lecturers will do this.
Yes, the one-on-one contact is something that I also feel very comfortable, to, rather than an email, to chat to one face-to-face.
It's much better. Much better.
Can you guys be back?
Oh, we back.
Yes. Hello.
Can you see?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
We thought we'd lost you, but you're back.
You did for a moment.
Okay. So, and we've also talked about when we get the materials to you. Now, here in Australia, one of the things we do is some students say to us over our summer holiday, December, January, they say, look, this is a really good time to get some study done. Can we have the work sooner than the semester starts?
Yeah.
So when they ask me as program director, personally, can we do this? I make an exception and I send them the subject outline via email. Now, the subject outline in full includes the table of the contents, a list of important references, the full assignments, so you can be reading those, studying up on those, and getting yourself really well prepared for when the semester starts. Now, we haven't got a system of getting Moodle open to you early. That's beyond our control, but we can send out individual subject outlines, and we've done that in the past. So all you need to do is, for the bachelor ones, write a polite email to Stephen, tell him that I've said so, and he'll do it. Okay? So that leads me on to another thing. As of the next couple of weeks, he will want to confirm with each of you what your subject selection is going to be for semester 2, so that you can get enrolled and we don't have any hiccup at the start of semester 2.
I have actually received an email from Stephen with that request, and then we applied. We entered for what he suggested as well, and a 5-day course at Eagle's Nest.
Oh, right.
As well. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So anything? Oh, couple of things from my end. Now, a number of you asked me, do we have to write about Australian education when we're in Africa? So I said, feel free to, whatever it's saying about the Australian syllabus or the Australian education system, apply that entirely to your African situation, and that's absolutely fine. If you wanted to, and some people did, do a comparison between the two, that's all fine and good too. But that's actually giving you a lot of extra work, because you've got to read up about the Australian system and the African system. So I would encourage you not to make life more complicated than it need be, and simply write up the relevant question for the South African context. I mean, check it out with your lecturer, but that's, to me, the most sensible way forward, because you're going to be teaching in South Africa, you are teaching in South Africa, therefore why bother doing something extra which isn't going to best you? I mean, as I was going back to the assignments, many of them are going to be lesson plans, sequences of lessons, units of work. We would love you to apply what you've already got from your school setting and pump it straight into one of the assignments. Our goal is not that you have to duplicate and do something else. It'd be nice if you could use what you've already got. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Anything else, folks?
No, thank you.
I have one more question, sorry,
Sure.
and also it might be mentioned in the places that you have suggested I go through and read. But for me personally, I struggle to meet the amount of words required. Do you have a suggestion how you can fill that in without kind of getting sidetracked to the point of the essay?
Wow. Well, a couple of things come to mind. My approach to writing an essay is I'm writing down what I'm thinking. So I would start with a piece of paper with lots of notes and scribbles on it. And what I sometimes do is I would get a pair of scissors and cut out bits and lay them on the floor, move the order around. That's how I do it to organize an essay. Or I should write about that first, I should write about that second. Oh no, that should be first. That'd be great at the end. And you move it all around. I think that, let me repeat, essays are going to be not often. They're going to be rare. The majority of work is writing up tables of lesson plans and the like. That's the biggest thing. But when it does come to an essay, if you're finding you haven't got the words and you're way short, then send an email to or do a post on the subject outline, on the subject Moodle page. Do a post and say, why is it, I don't seem to have enough to say here. What am I missing? And, maybe give a couple of dot points as to what you've included. And the lecturer may, if you can do this in good time, the lecturer should come back to you and say, look, you've missed that whole point. So if you're doing an essay on the last night before submission date, then it's a bit too late. But try to get as early as you can.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jim. I think that's all my questions that you've answered. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's been lovely to meet you. Now, anyone else got any questions?
No.
You're okay
Thanks,
now?
Wendy.
Thanks,
Dr. Keep in touch.
Thank you, guys. How is that for dedication, Doctor? They're sitting at school in a little. Where are you guys sitting?
In a little Wendy
Wooden
house,
house.
like a wooden shed. And it's freezing. It's freezing, by the way.
Oh.
It's
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Dedication, wonderful.
Okay. God bless.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's amazing to meet you. Stop recording.